Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. At least 36 people have been killed and more than 2,000 arrested during 10 days of nationwide anti-regime protests in Iran, according to the foreign-based human rights activist news agency. Now, the unrest, the most serious in years, has spread to dozens of cities, and deepening economic crisis, political strain and external pressures, all raising questions about whether this moment marks a turning point for the Islamic Republic. Now, to assess it all, we're joined by Layla Jazayeri, Director of the Association of Anglo-Iranian Women in the UK. Good to have you with us here on TVP World.
Thank you for having me on.
So, as I said in the beginning with these numbers, we have already 36 people killed, 2,000 arrested. We have various provinces, 27, maybe 31 provinces of unrest, 90 cities. I mean, the scale of this right now, how does this compare with 2019, with other protests in the past? Is this one different?
It is actually different. It's larger, greater, more extensive. In fact, in the last uprising, it spread in 282 cities after a few months. This time, within 12 days, actually it's over 130 cities.
Yeah, so as you said, the timing of this is really fast. You said that was months, and we watched that, we commented on it, and we've seen this in a very rapid succession. I mean, there's a lot going on, and also I'm curious about the messaging. I mean, at the same time, you have the Iranian president saying restraint, you have the spiritual leader saying something else more intense. So what about the mixed messaging from the authorities in Tehran? What does that say, and what does that mean for the protesters on the ground?
Well, bottom line, the control is in the hands of the supreme leader. At the beginning, he sent his president out to calm down the protesters. That was just a gesture. But people responded by chanting that they are aware of their tricks. They are not going to back down. So it's just the tactics that the regime plays. Bottom line, Khamenei is in charge. And the guards, the security guards, IRGC, everybody else follow what Khamenei, the supreme leader, says. He came out on Saturday calling the protesters rioters and enemies that must be dealt with. He threatened basically more further bloodshed. But we saw the result. In fact, it triggered even more anger. It kind of escalated even more. So Khamenei is like in a dead end. If they suppress more, if they kill more, it just adds to the anger of the people. It makes it even worse. If it doesn't, then it spreads as it has.
Mm-hmm. And looking at also the trigger behind all this, it seems to have been economic. If we're looking at inflation, it's over 40%. Food prices up 70%. I mean, this is all about the currency collapse, the bazaar strikes. Is this still an economic, let's say, resistance, or is this now also political? Is it both? Where does it go from here?
Well, you see, in Iran, the political oppression and economic grievances are intertwined. They are two sides of the same coin. Iran has the combined second oil and gas revenue in the world. But look, 80% of Iranians live under poverty line because most of the revenue is directed into the hands of the regime, has been spent on export of terrorism and wars, in supporting the proxy groups, in developing the nuclear facilities. And what is left for the Iranian people, becoming more and more poorer and poorer, execution, suppression. So, yes, it started with economic reason. The sudden, the decrease of Iranian rial to record lows. But within hours, it became political. It spreads around Tehran, and within few days, in over 70 cities across Iran, it became political, targeting the supreme leader.
Mm-hmm. And it's also political well beyond Iran as well. I'm just curious about what you make of also the President of the United States, Donald Trump, saying very much just a few days ago, warning Iranian authorities not to kill protesters. I mean, how are Iranians receiving this? I mean, are they taking this as a way to embolden what they're doing on the streets? Is this something that they're hoping for? Will there be U.S. intervention? How are the Iranians interpreting the president's message?
Well, we welcome, of course, Iranians welcome President Trump's message. It's encouraging. But let's face it, what determines regime change in Iran is within Iran, by the Iranian people. And actually, there is a resistance that is leading the protest inside Iran. People of Iran are quite capable of bringing down this regime. The position of President Trump is it's very positive, it's encouraging, and we hope the rest of the West, the Europe, take the same stance. Because let's face it, for decades, the policy of appeasement by the West only emboldened the regime, only assisted the Iranian regime in exporting terrorism and war outside Iranian borders and killing and execution inside Iran. So there needs to be an end to that appeasement policy, taking a firm stance against Iran. The rest will be dealt with the Iranian people. There is a resistance, there is that is capable of directing these protests to bring down the regime. We don't really need boots on the ground. We don't really need any financial assistance. All we need is to stand firm against the regime. And we need practical in terms of, look, I live in London for 10 years. Subsequent governments have promised to put IRGC, the main apparatus of suppression and repression on terrorism list. They still haven't done it. They need to proscribe this terrorist organization. Europe needs to do that. They need to condition all relations, all ties with the Iranian regime right now, condition it to immediate release of those who have been arrested in Iran. They need also the West needs to recognize the rights of the Iranian people, the right of protesters who are fighting empty-handed, the right to resist by all means. These are practical support that Iranians need.
All right. And also, speaking of standing firm and the diaspora community, if we're looking also at a man who is abroad, mostly in the United States, but also more vocal in recent months, especially last days, has been the Crown Prince, Reza Pahlavi. Now, I'm curious about certain statements he's made, really also calling out for direct coordinated protests in Iran. This is the son of the former Shah. What kind of role do you see him play if there is a change? Does he have the support inside Iran if he were to return? Is he, let's say, someone who would transition? What's the mood and the view of the Crown Prince in and out of Iran?
Well, let's face the facts. The son of the former dictator of Iran is actually undermining the uprising. He has asked people not to confront the heavily armed security forces, even though he knows these forces are armed to their teeth while people are defenseless. At the same time, what the regime is doing, apart from violence, the regime is using deception. The regime is pushing monarchist slogans, manufacturing supports for him. Why? Because the regime wants to divide this movement and weaken it from within, poison it from within. Because the regime knows Reza Pahlavi is nobody. He has no support inside Iran. People of Iran are fed up with a century of crowned or clerical dictatorship. That is why you can hear in the slogans of university students, of the youth, they say, down with the dictator, down with Khamenei, and then they say, down with the oppressor, be it the Shah or the supreme leader. They are signaling that they don't want to go back to the past. The clock moved forwards. This time they want to establish a free, democratic, pluralistic, now nuclear Iran. So unfortunately, the role of Reza Pahlavi has been counterproductive. We have clips, you go on social media, there are thousands of them. You can see the clips of videos, you can see a scene, and then you can see two different voiceover. They have put voiceover, deliberately manipulating the slogans to show that, to sell the lie that people of Iran want to go back to the old dictatorship. That is a lie. As I said, people of Iran want to move forward, and they are denying, they are rejecting all sorts of dictatorship, whether crowned or clerical.
All right, and we'll see those things develop. Of course, it's been 10 days, as you said. Things are moving very fast. We'll see where it goes from here. But thanks for all those insights. Much appreciated. That was our guest, Layla Jazayeri. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks. But stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.